Psychology has four main goals. First, the description, which is identifying and describing behavior accurately. Second is explanation, understanding why behavior occurs. Third is prediction, which is anticipating how people are likely to behave in certain situations. Psychology aims to influence or control behavior in positive ways, such as improving learning, mental health, and relationships. So this defines psychology as the scientific study of behavior and mental processes. Scientific, we mean that psychology relies on evidence, research, and systematic observation. We don't just guess, we don't lean on opinion or rely solely on opinion or common sense. Behavior refers to anything we can observe, such as action or speech, while mental processes include thoughts, feelings, perception, and memories, which we cannot see directly but can study scientifically. Of thoughts, we have the structuralism, we have the functionalism, we have the behaviorism, we have the psychoanalysis and humanistic cognitive. Over time, we have psychologists explaining behavior using different perspectives called the school of thought or schools of thought. Structuralism focused on breaking mental processes into parts. Functionalism focused on what mental processes will do. Now, behaviorism emphasized observable behavior. Psychoanalysis focused on unconscious motives. Later approaches like humanistic and cognitive psychoanalysis emphasize personal growth and mental processes. Now, psychology is not just a theory, it applies to everyday life. We look at it from the eyes of maybe education, health, work, relationship. Teachers use psychology to improve learning. Doctors use it to understand patient behavior. Organizations use it to motivate workers. And individuals use it to manage stress, emotions, and relationships. Okay, so let's move to model 2. Types of research design. Psychologists use different research design depending on the questions that are being asked. We can use the experimental research, which allows us to determine cause and effects. We use the correlational research, which examines relationship between variables. And then we look at observational studies, which involves watching behavior, and surveys gather self-reported data in research. That means we look at the independent variable, the dependent variable, confounding variable, and controlling variable. Now, in experiment, the independent variable is what the researcher can manipulate, while the dependent variable is what is measured. Confounding variables are unwanted factors that may affect or influence the results, while controlling variables helps to ensure accurate results. Ethics practices, very important in psychological research. You must not downplay it in your researches, ensuring that this comes to light, it comes to play when you're conducting any research. Now, the aspects are informed consent. You must inform and ensure that participants understand what the study involves. And then you have the confidentiality, which deals with the protection of personal data. And then protection from harm, which means that researchers must ensure that participants are not harmed physically or psychologically. Deals with our biological basis of behavior, where you look at the neuron structure and neural communication. You look at the central and the peripheral nervous systems, major brain structures and functions, role of genetic and hereditary in the basic unit of the nervous system is the neuron. Neurons communicate through electrical and chemical signals using neurotransmitters. Now, these communications allows us to think, feel, move, and react to our environment.